We are now recording the July 22nd, 2016 Small Business Accounting Advisors.
Kelly.
Hello, everyone. Kelly just joined us.
Hi, Shelley.
I thought I saw Sarah Laidlow pop on for a minute.
I didn't see Sarah.
Okay.
I'm sure she'll be here.
So, Dennis, you were in the middle of saying, what did we say?
Oh, I was, as Debbie was showing her salute, I was talking about, the story was back in '68 when the North Koreans captured the Pueblo, that what the crew was doing to the guards, they're flipping the bird, and they're called the Hawaiian greeting of friendship, and so the guards were flipping each other off because that's what they thought it meant.
That was the Hawaiian greeting, the middle finger.
Yeah, the Hawaiian greeting of friendship.
Somebody pranked them good.
Yeah.
And Deb, we were talking about your new hairdo.
You like it?
I do.
I cut it all off today.
Nice.
And right after that, my hairdo is at 12:30, and I was looking at the clock on the webinar. It went till 12:15. I'm like, okay, I got 15 minutes to get there, and I made it. And I said, I have to look gorgeous for this afternoon because they saw me ugly this morning. So this afternoon is going to be different.
Okay, awesome. You were the star of the show this morning.
Well, I think that Chris Reagan, I mean, he just is really...
He's smart. He's smart. He's really smart.
Now, we do have, I mean, I think that it's really important to understand, I think that his business model is really different than mine.
Yeah.
And most of ours. I mean, his is really, you go into his box and so he can do 300 returns because it goes into his box. I don't do as many. I do much less than that because it's basically me and one part-timer. I don't want to have, and I work out of my house, as you can see from behind me.
I see that.
I really, I mean, I think I don't want to have a lot of people in my house 5 days a week. She comes 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And which is plenty. And unfortunately, with my husband, my partner, he's very, Shelley met him. he's very old-fashioned when it comes to this. You know how I think most of you know I'm pretty forward-thinking with all of this. He is like the complete opposite of me. And just to give you an idea, he wanted a W-2 one time, and I do the payroll, and I'm standing in front of his desk and I whip out my phone. Oh, you want a W-2? Here you go. And I press the button and it binged on his computer. He goes, what do you want me to do with that? I said, click it and click it. I can't handle that. That's too much for me. I said, well, what do you want me to do? Well, go back to your office, start print it. How hard is it to print it out? I said, how hard is it to do this? Click. I said, get up from your desk. I'll take care of it. But that's typical of him. He'll print out an email from his desk and put it on my desk to rescan it and put it into the computer. So when I say, look, we can do this remotely. In fact, yesterday I went through my client list and said, because he said, I want someone in the office so they can, because of the security of the documents. And I said, do you seem to get that we don't ever get documents? I mean, everything, I mean,
Shepherd.
we don't get any of this stuff. I mean, it's all electronic. I mean, if they're on desktop, they're in the cloud. If they're on QBO, I said, the bank feeds and the check stubs and the hub doc and the ledger sync. And I said, they email me with the right signature and the share file and all that. There are no documents anymore. They don't have to be here. Well, how do I know they're productive? I go, when they produce the financials, it's not based on the effort, it's based on the result.
Yes, absolutely.
So to get the mind change of these old folks around is really a challenge.
That's tough. It is hard to do. It does take a different way of thinking. Although you're doing the same thing, you have to think a little different. Instead of always hitting that print button, you're hitting that PDF and putting them somewhere.
It's funny because Seth said on the webinar today that lady looked at his audit trail to see how long he worked on something. And, I about go ballistic if they ever say that to me. So I think he handled with that customer really well. But they do. They think that, I'm paying for your time. And I said, no, you're not paying for my time. You're paying for my result.
Yeah.
And, I said, you're old century. You're last year. You're tomorrow. I said, If your heart surgeon can fix your heart in 10 minutes, does he need to stand there 10 to prove his worth to you? No. I mean, just get the job done. But I actually have a lot of fun arguing with these old timers. In fact, I was at a meeting the other day with the orchestra that I'm the treasurer of, and they still, well, don't people write checks for the donations? I go, no, nobody writes checks anymore. and I said it was a whole bunch of people around the table. I said, how many of you here still write checks? And 2 hands went up, and they were both over 70. I said, that's because you're old. So I asked the youngest guy there, I said, do you write checks for anything? He actually said, I've never written a check. What is a check? I said, if you're not getting with the program, you're falling behind. You want to know why the orchestra is not getting enough money? Because no one has a checkbook to write out a check when you're asking for money. We need to get QuickBooks Online, which they're on that. I said, get the QuickBooks thing, get the thing, swipe the card. Somebody said, yes, but we'll pay a discount fee. I said, okay, somebody gives us $100, and we pay $97. Would you rather the 97 and pay the 3% or take nothing?
Right.
That's your choice.
Right. And you're not considering the savings, like the stamps.
Going to the bank. I mean, one time we had a whole deposit loss. The president of the orchestra lost the deposit. We had to go back to all the people and get them to ask them to rewrite the checks. Oh my God. I mean, it's like, they're so old fashioned, but a lot of business owners are still like that. And
I have friends and they're like 85. They don't only they write a check, but they get cash from the bank, and then they go to the local store where the telephone company takes the money and the electric company, and they actually pay cash that they got out of the bank to where that little mini electric company takes the payment in cash.
Yeah, and I said, well, why do you do that? And they go, well, because it's secure. I want my security.
We've always done it that way.
Yeah, or that way, or because of security. And I said, security? I said, you could be robbed and have all that cash stolen from you. I said, do you not think Intuit and these banks take your security? They take it more seriously than you do. Because I bet you if I went to your office, I could find a book where you wrote down all your passwords if they're not posted on your monitor. And they just don't get it, I just don't get it.
And no matter what you say, they're not going
to get it. Well, you know what? They're not my clients. I cannot convince everybody.
So you put them to your husband, right?
Yes. And actually, he'll take them. Because he'll go, oh, yeah, I don't like to do any of that technology stuff myself. Yeah. and then what? If he gives them to me to do, I said, I'm not doing them because I do the technology stuff myself. I can do 10 clients to his one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
And then he and I charge 10 times as much. And he goes, well, you're not even working as hard as me. Yes, that's how it works.
That's awesome.
But I thought
Yvette's joined us, Jan's joined us, Mariette's joined us. Sarah is popping in and out. She's back to gray head. So what is happening with everybody? Do we have any topics we want to talk about? We were talking about value pricing this morning. Or
how was that? I bet it was good.
Well, I think the thing is that people don't understand. I've studied this value pricing for 3 years. I listen to podcasts, read the books. There's 3 types of pricing that we all do as accountants. There's hourly, which we're all used to, the old model. There's fixed pricing, and there's value pricing. A fixed price is not a value price, but a value price is always a fixed price. And what that means is this. The menu pricing that Chris had on his thing, it's like going into a restaurant. If you're starving, that meal or that menu item is worth more to you than me who might have just eaten lunch. So I might not see the value in it because value is purely subjective. So he has a menu price where if you go in, if you want this, I pick this, and that's what I'm willing to pay for it. And he said in his thing today that he thought, what do I think it's worth to somebody? Well, see, that's not a value price. A value price is when you go in and you talk to somebody and say, what do you need? What do you want? Why'd you pick up the phone? What's your dream? What's your thing? So it's a real art. It's not a science. There is no formula. The challenge for accountants is what value do we bring if we do good good record keeping. So that's where I get off on talking about the wealth that we build, the empire you can bring, the time you can spend. So you have to start painting the picture of what a good set of accounting books can do for you. And then you have to ask them the question, what is all that worth? What is it worth to you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? So there's clicking on the value. So the other thing I do that you have to put in what's called an anchor in. An anchor gives them a relative thing because they really don't know what something like us should cost. So I always tell them, I said, why did you pick up the phone today? And they tell you why. I said, well, if you put an ad on Craigslist for a bookkeeper at $15 an hour worked part-time, you would pay $300 a week. You'd have to have a computer. You'd have to pay the fact matching FICA Medicare. You'd have to have an office space. But the minimum you would pay for a 4-week month is $1,200 for and somebody who, for a lousy $15 an hour, somebody you found on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So for half of that, you will get my yesterday plan and me. And so to me, so if you anchor it like that, they go, wow, I'm really now half price.
Absolutely.
Now, if you were to go out and hire if you hire a CFO, you're going to pay them $150,000 to $200,000 a year. I am way less than that. You will have somebody that will come in and care about your books because this is what I do. I work for me, but I work for you. The more successful I make you, the more successful I become. And I will tell you, this is another trick. I don't take on everybody. I only have 168 hours a week, and I want to have a life just like you do. So unless you fit with me, you will not come into my arsenal. I can only do 3 people at my maximum plan, and I just had 1 drop off. So I'm looking for a replacement. Maybe you're it. Maybe you're not.
That makes your value perceived to be higher too.
It's all sales. It's all psychology.
Well, first of all, you have to have confidence in yourself and confidence that you can do it.
Right.
That's hard when you're first starting out.
That's very hard.
No, but you have to stop telling yourself that because when I first started doing this, I came from a CPA world and I made $15 an hour, so I went out on my own finally, and I started to hang out in these. This was even before Facebook, and I started to see people are making $50 an hour. This is before I even heard about value pricing. I thought, holy mackerel, they're actually paying that? And then, I went to a Joe Woodard thing, and he said, Debbie, you should be charging $150 an hour. I'm like, what? And then I remember Michelle Long showed up at my house in Marco Island. We're sitting in the pool there, and she goes, you're not charging $150 an hour? I'm thinking, holy smokes, they would not pay that. She goes, start doing it. And I thought, all right, what do I have to lose? So I started. I thought, wow, they are paying. So when you start to value yourself like that, it's amazing what you start to bring and what you start to attract. I don't want these people that don't see the value or don't just think that I just need somebody to reconcile my check. I said, well, you can get your mom to do that. So I said, I actually will change your life. If you don't see the vision like I do, and I think I heard when I came in the thing that I can't care more about it than you do. I said, I'm not going to make you. I'm not your mother, but I am your coach. So if you really have the vision, I can help you make that happen. So if that's what you want, but you have to want it, so, and then I get them on board and, we start moving. And if I tell you what, if I text them, I need your payroll, I need your this, I need your that. 3 times, they're gone. I say, this is the 3rd time.
That's the biggest part of my problem is
I won't ask again
to respond.
I said, I will not ask again. 3rd time, and I tell them that when I come in. I said, look, I will not babysit you. I'll ask you 3 times. I know you're busy. All you need to do is say, I'm busy, I'll get back to you. But, by the 3rd time no response, I'm assuming you don't want my service anymore, and I'm moving on.
It's like 3 strikes and you're out.
Strikes, you're out.
Deb, so on your contract, like I have on my contract what I need?
Yes. They have to give me the certain stuff, and I said, like they have to give me access to their bank, or they have to sign up with Ledger Sync. They have to maintain it if they don't want me to have access, but I need the bank statement. I need, all of that stuff. And if I don't have it, I can't do their work. And I will ask 3 times. You haven't hooked up Ledger Sync yet. You haven't hooked up Ledger Sync yet. Oh, well, I've been busy. I said, well, it seems like you're not really into this right now. So call me back when you're ready. Because we keep hoping that they're going to get with it. They're not. And
And
if
you're right. The ones.
so I move on to the next one.
never do.
Somebody wants me. And I tell them that when the first interview, when I'm interviewing them, I said, if you don't want this, that's okay. We'll still be friends.
Not a problem.
But I can't,
10 years.
I'm not going to babysit you. You have to want it more than I do.
Yeah.
And I will remind you of stuff. And I said, I realize people go on vacation and you're busy. You just have to write back text. I'm busy. I'll get right back. I said, I will give the same courtesy to you. So when somebody calls and I'm on the phone, there's that thing on your iPhone, I'm busy, I'll call you right back. And I do. And that's another thing in my agreements that I have is access level. I learned that from Ron Baker. If they get my premium package, they get immediate response. If they have the middle package, the today package, they get response by the end of the day or by the end of tomorrow. And if they have the other one, I'll get back to them by the end of the week.
Sure. Perfect.
Yeah, good.
And I tell you, sometimes most of the time I can get back to them immediately. And I go, this is a yesterday package. They're going to have to wait. Really, because if you start to give them what the top people get, then there is no value in the top. In fact, yesterday I had a call from somebody. She was on my basic package. And this was this was more than text because they only get text with the other one, the basic one. And I said, it sounds like we need to really move you up to the middle package where we can include phone calls in this because the questions you're asking are much more complicated. So why don't I go ahead and move you up to the next package? And she goes, okay.
There you go.
But anyway, it's psychology and it's believing in yourself and then hanging out in these Zoom things and the Facebooks and calling someone up like me or Gina or Dennis or Linda or and saying, help me. I really need somebody to talk me through this, that I can do this. I mean, we're all here for each other. There is so much out there for all of us. Getting something doesn't mean you can't have it. I love helping everybody, and because one day I might want to help you. I might need you to help me.
You never know.
Plus, you all can handle so many people, so many clients yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, and I might just need, and most of the time I'm pretty good, but sometimes I say, I need help with the package. I need help with an idea. Okay, tell me that I'm okay, that I'm not out in left field. And usually you'll say, yeah, Debbie, you're out in left field. I go, okay, that's what I thought I should be like. But we all need each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so many times, like all of you have helped me a lot, somehow I either talked to Gina, Deb, I've even talked to you, Linda, Dennis, I called you today, and I called them in the past, it's so nice to have this group because before this, I would just get most of the, what led me on to a lot of these groups is I first started with, sorry about that, the Radio Free QuickBooks show.
You're lucky yourself.
That's something else that you can start when you start to talk to your potential customers. I tell them, I said, not only do you get me, but I'm involved with a network of people worldwide.
I tell them that. Yep.
That can help me out. That if I don't know the answer to your question, I have people in the United Kingdom.
I tell them I'm connected with
Canada,
the top people in my field, which is true.
That can answer, that can help me out. And all I have to do is ask the question and they will help. So you might think that you're only getting me. You're getting thousands of people just like me.
I have here.
Do you have an assistant, Deb?
Huh?
Is it just you and your husband, or do you have?
I have a part-time girl, and what she does is she does all of my. Okay, when I don't know the history of the company. Hal started the company like 1990 or something like that, and then we started dating.
Yeah.
And I lost my job I was working in a law firm teaching computers, and I lost my job there. They let it go my whole department, and he said, "Well, why don't you help me out? You're a CPA." And I said, "Yeah, but I hated being a CPA. It was so boring and dull. I thought it was the worst job." And I said, "All right, I'll help you out till something else comes along." He said, "But I'm only going to do the bookkeeping part and the accounting. I really don't want to do the tax. And if I'm going to run it, I'm going to run it how I think a CPA firm should be run, an accounting firm. No time sheets. I'm going to have a flat rate price. I'm going to use the technology." He goes, "Whatever you want to do, because I like the tax. You do the account." I said, "Okay." So that's how it got started. So these clients that came in that were old school that still write checks. So we still come in with a stack of invoices, and we do pretty well without changing them over. So when they die off, then, but she does all of what I call the legacy people. So she comes in and that's all she handles. And all the new ones come in with QBO and, Bill.com. They're the ones I do. So if I can, I do all of the higher end stuff. And like Seth does, I do get them started where if somebody comes in and then I'll hand them off. I have another girl that I'm thinking of hiring that is a QBO. She likes QBO and she was actually here. And she worked at one of my other customers that I let go because she didn't respond for 3 times, but I liked her. She worked there, the bookkeeper. And she goes, I'd love to work for you. She goes, all I want to do is put my head down and work. And I said, well, okay, that's great. So I think I'm going to bring her on part-time.
Nice.
For all the QBO people. And the big challenge, though, I'm having is that Hal says, well, she needs to be here in the office. I go, no, she doesn't. But slowly I don't know. I just have to hire and say, guess what? She's not. I just have to write her a check and then, what's this for? Oh, that's for my hair. I'll tell him.
Anne actually said she's going to leave us for a little bit. She'll be back in a little later.
Deborah, you are hilarious. You crack me up.
I tell you, I'm like this this is what I'm like all the time, even with my customers. I mean,
You're funny.
I think I'm like a preacher. I'm like an evangelical talking in tongues preacher when I start talking about accounting.
Yeah.
I get them, we can do this. I mean, to me, I love it. I think your enthusiasm for your job will actually get them to want to buy you. In fact, I got a job yesterday with Allison Ball to do this webinar for Greg Bosson. And you know why they picked me? Because my voice message was peppy.
Yeah.
I mean, because they listen to my voicemail. We picked you because your voicemail, your message had a lot of pep. Wow. Nothing about how good I was, but just, boy, that's something else. Be peppy.
I guess I should have you do my message on my company's phone.
Well, just be like, walk around and get excited. Like Hal, if you call his phone number, hello, this is behind the scenes financial services. And I'm like, I said, do you know how boring you sound? He goes, what? He gets really offended when I say stuff. I said, why don't you be, hi, this is Debbie. I'm a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, top 10. I was a Firm of the Future winner. Please leave your number, name, and message at the beep, and I'll call you back as soon as I can. Thanks, bye. I mean, just be peppy.
I've been in my previous life in the office, and I'd leave I'd do my voicemail message on my phone at work. People, my family at least, would call, like a friend of mine called me. She's like, oh my God, why do you sound like you're a phone sex operator? I'm like, what are you talking about? Just because I had this script that I wrote out and I was like trying to, sound professional and everything. She was like, but it sounds so, ooh. I was like, oh, let me change that.
Just, we all have to be ourselves. Because, when they're hiring us. They're not hiring a firm. They're not hiring a logo. They're hiring a person. So that you have to be real and authentic. And I'm kind of I'm out there, this is who I am. Now, that doesn't mean if you're quiet and shy that you have to be like me. No, you have to be the best you.
That's right. That's right. But the other thing, Deb, is you have to have a plan for your own business too.
Yes.
Like you said, you know how big you want to be.
Right.
And I've come to realize that too. You don't want to take on more than you can handle because then you're not giving anybody good service.
Yeah, and you have to define your ideal client. What client do you want to do? Well,
I'm talking about your business, your firm.
Yes, that's your ideal, right. Who are you going to take on? What are you going to do? Like if someone says, like Seth said on the thing, she wanted to have them log into the system. No, you're either on, if you want desktop, you're on my server, and or else you're using QBO. I won't do you if you're on Xero. I won't do you if you're on Wave or Sage. Not that they're not great products. I can't be good at them. And frankly, I really don't think the clients care what platform we use. I don't go to the dentist and say, I really like Crest and you're a Colgate guy.
That's right.
I just want a healthy smile. They want a good set of books. How I get there is really my choice, not theirs. Right. And I always tell them, I said, you called me. I'm the expert. Trust me.
Right.
If you know how to do this, you'd be doing it. Trust me. So, and if they don't, then I say, then we can't work together. And it's okay. We'll still be friends. No, we won't. But yeah, we'll still be friends.
I want to switch gears here a little bit. Sarah Prevost.
I'm right here. Okay, sorry.
It was kind of Notify week last week. What'd you think?
Oh, it was. I was really honestly surprised and happy and overwhelmed too. I was super excited after. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad that we were able to do it. Hi, Mariette.
I try not to jump in. There was a lot of excitement. I'm really peppy too, so me and Deborah will be peppy together. So I let her. I'm like, I'm gonna let her be peppy. I'll be peppy at the end of the show. You know.
There you go.
It's very hard for us peppy people to be quiet. I tell you, so
I know I'm having a hard time because I have all my family here and I don't want to miss this because this morning session was amazing and I didn't want to miss this afternoon. So I'm like turning off the video and putting on your mute.
I was like working and I wanted to be part of it, but I'm going to watch it over and over again. It was so thrilling. I love it.
Were you on there? Were all of you on that?
I was on there
for a little while.
Yeah,
I was on there. Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah,
This actually is next
I
month we have Canopy for the tax program, and then the month after that, the question is going to be, do we want to talk about power pricing, or do we want to talk about accounting tax pro groups?
I just think pricing to me that's my favorite topic.
I love that. Yeah, me
Because
too.
there is a method to it, and I think I listen to podcasts every day, read tons of books, question myself, so I really think I don't know it, but I think I know it pretty good. What's the process to get to the value pricing? What are the questions you ask, the forms that you do?
But I want to bring on somebody that's kind of new to the system. Somebody like you has experience behind you. You know what it's going to take to do whatever it is that needs to be done. Somebody that's just starting out, that's a little bit more difficult. They don't.
But see, I don't agree with that in the sense that, they still need to ask what it is do you want done? How, what value can I bring?
100%.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're not tracking hours per se, they could really get in over their head.
But that's how you learn. You only learn by making mistakes. And when I got started, I will tell you when I got started doing this with Hal, I spent hours learning this. How did I get this good? It's because I spent hours learning this stuff. I never worried about, I'm going to have to bill a client for this, because I was getting the same flat rate no matter how many hours I spent. So I would
end up taking on too much work by doing that. And if you have to support your family, that's a tough situation.
I mean,
that's a really tough situation.
Honestly, though, keeping track of how long it's taking you to do a project in the early stages until you can kind of get into that groove is very helpful.
See, I disagree.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about. But I'm talking about when you're first starting out.
I never tracked my.
No, listen. There's a reason I'm saying that is when you're first doing your business, you're getting these different types of jobs and work and stuff. So you want to be able to gauge, okay, this is taking me this long to do this, and then analyze that. The only way to do that is to track how long you're spending on a particular client and what you are doing when you are working on that client.
But see, I think you know that intuitively, and basically, every time
you work, Deb,
right?
May not.
That's Deborah. I'm talking about a newbie. You've been in it. You've been in it.
How? You had a little bit of a
but you had experience before you started your own business.
Have that backing or that ability to continue if they're not making money.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. That and the other thing is scope creep. Scope creep is
which is important.
You have to know how to handle that. You handle it perfectly. Like you said, with the person that called you when she didn't have the call plan, you said, hey, are we going to bump up and move? When you're first starting out, as Dennis says, anyone that's breathing and can pay you,
and willing to pay you.
Or willing to pay you.
Both.
And in some cases, you just have the inkling that they might be able to pay you. You'll take them because you're starting out.
That's why
I think that,
you know
if
what?
you are
What's important is that you take I take a deposit up front before I start any work, and then I bill right before my next phase is starting. I have to get paid.
Yep.
Right.
I get paid first before any work is done.
But a lot of that is trial and error when you are starting your own business from scratch.
But I think
It's one thing, no, Deborah, it's one thing if you have been in another firm doing something similar and you decide to go out on your own. I'm talking about somebody who's, in a mediocre job, I'm not even going to say that, but they're not even they're trying to figure something out and they're changing their life and they're trying to switch.
Right, okay, I understand. I don't disagree with you. I'm not going to, that's fine. But I really get tired when I read on Facebook that someone says they want to start their own accounting firm. Will you tell me what a balance sheet is?
Oh, God.
Well, that's different.
This is not a profession that we should just take, well, because you can't do anything else, become a bookkeeper. We need to make that this is a real job. If you went out and started a store, you'd have to go to school, you'd have to learn about inventory, you'd have to learn it. We think because they want to start a business, well, you can just start and see how well you do. No, let's make this a challenging thing that they need to get in, that if you want to do this, this is what's going to be required of you to do well. Not just knowing the debits and credits. That's the easy part. It's the part about running a business and making up a plan and, defining your ideal client and figuring out, what value you bring and the price you're going to charge and when to say no and how to actually run it.
I absolutely 100% agree with
you. Totally agree.
A plan. You need a plan, and I think too many people start out without that.
Right.
I think too many, and the experience you can only get by doing.
Exactly. You only get and the best experience is by doing it wrong. I learned more by making mistakes than I did by always doing it right. And the people that never make a mistake are not doing enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the minute you make a mistake, you're like, oh, crap, I made a mistake.
And I'll tell you something
You will never make that mistake again because it's like, oh, now I know what I did to get there. I'm not going to go down that path again.
And you have to remember, too, that, the one beautiful thing about our profession is that if we make a mistake, no one will die.
Well, people will cry.
It's only money.
Emergency.
It's only money.
People will cry, and they will.
If I make a mistake,
well, there's people that'll commit suicide. Wrong.
No,
it's not accounting's fault. It's their fault for the poor decisions they made to get where they're at.
And if we make a mistake, we make a payroll tax deposit late, or we goof up somehow, fix it. I mean, the mark of a professional, I think, is someone says, you know what, I goofed. And I tell people when I first meet them, you know what, I'm going to make mistakes. Get over it. I don't plan to do it. They're called accidents, but I fix them and I stand behind what I do. So
Absolutely.
There was somebody on another Facebook post once, they asked the question, what do you do if your employee makes a mistake? And somebody wrote, then I fire him. And I said, what? I said, I would never do that. I mean, if they don't have the freedom to feel like they can make an error. Now, I'm not talking about continual errors. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they're afraid that if any time they make a mistake, they're going to be hit the bricks, man. They're going to never be innovative and creative and come up with new ideas because they're going to be working in fear. I make mistakes. I try to forgive myself. And I think we're harder on ourselves than even our customers. And say,
the one good thing is, we're not machines, and even machines make mistakes because the human has to program the machine anyway. So we're human, and part of our makeup is that we make mistakes, and those mistakes you should learn from them. A lot of people don't, but you should be learning from those mistakes. I've made a ton, and I acknowledge when I make mistakes. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was all on me.
I goofed, sorry.
And you take the responsibility for it, right?
Exactly.
Well, speaking of mistakes, Dennis was talking earlier that banks screw up.
Oh, yeah.
He's had some good stories about banks screwing up. Things that
Oh.
you don't think about.
Well, I used to be, when I worked for the late Great Wall, moved before it crashed and burned and almost took down the whole banking system. I was working as assistant manager in commercial real estate loan servicing, and we had acquired this one small bank that had this. We thought they were loans, but they were really real estate contracts, and that each real estate contract was like in second position. So I had to actually manually make payments on the first, and there was this one contract where the amortization schedule kept changing. I mean, he would give me once a year and he wouldn't tell me how he figured it out, so I had to kind of figure it out myself. But what was happening is that the balance would go down as it was amortized, and then once a year it'd go up because he'd put a dollar amount on it. Turns out he was paying the taxes, he was adding back on the taxes. So, okay, well, I figured that out. Now what's going on with our loan system? Well, turns out that they'd screwed up when they put the loan on the system, they screwed it up, and so everything was getting applied towards principal, including the taxes. And so I figured out that the loan balance was about $100,000 lower than it should have been. And so I caught it, and we had to I had to give the bad news that we're adding back $100,000 to the bank balance, to the loan balance, because of the screw up, because essentially the bank was amortizing the loan too fast because they were including the tax deposits in with as if it were a loan payment.
So the bank was not recording it properly. Tax
Right.
payments were being made. They were just not being recorded properly.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many times I have found bank mistakes doing bank reconciliations.
Yeah.
That's when you become a hero to the client. And that's when you start showing them the value of what you do. You know, anybody can just check things off. But because of your experience and your knowledge, you know what to look for, and you can spot those mistakes quicker than anyone.
That was something that someone that didn't have a real estate background probably wouldn't have picked up on.
That's true.
You know. In fact, the reason I brought this up is because I've just taken on a side project where this guy has got a property over in eastern Washington, and he thinks there's a problem with the escrow company supposedly servicing the loan because he's not getting either the loan's in serious arrears or else something's funny's going on with the escrow company. So I'm going to try to create my own AM schedule and figure out how it matches up with what he's getting from his escrow company. But he's one of these guys. I mean, he's really in sad shape. He's got emphysema, and I don't know much longer he's going to live. He's got. I go into his. I occasionally make house calls, not all that often. Usually it's for people that are older than me. So,
On a house, friends.
Yeah. Anyway, I go in and this guy's sitting in his rocking chair, got a breathing tube. It has a sign on the door that says no smoking because there's oxygen.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks. Yeah. And so I go in there. He's got this breathing contraption where he barely breathe, and it turns out he'd worked for the government, and he'd been exposed to all sorts of asbestos and all this other garbage.
Wow.
And so he's got bad lungs, and he was too old to get a lung replacement. So
Jeez.
he's kind of trying to get his affairs in order.
Right.
Just kind of sad the way that I don't know if the company's incompetent or if they're actually trying to defraud him, but so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a shame. Taking advantage of somebody. I'm going to switch gears again. Linda, I'm going to go to you. You have a project you'd like some help with.
I do. It's the project that I took on where I moved the company that had been tracking. They're about 11, 12 million a year, and they've been tracking with Quicken for 44 years, and we moved them to QuickBooks. And they do their sales, their inventory, and their accounts receivable with a package called Oak Street. And so because they do that, I bring those numbers in by journal entry once a month into a clearing account. So the sales go in there, and then any of the bank deposits come out of the clearing account and go into the bank to match what happens in the bank, so that we don't get double sales. Because if
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everything we started with, fiscal year 2013, and that's perfect. And every month the clearing account zeros with the journal entry. And then same for 2014. But in 2015, for some reason, there's about 5 or 6 months during 2015 that it doesn't zero. And I cannot figure out why.
Is there anything different?
I beg your pardon?
Anything different happening in those months?
Not that I know of. Now, so what I did was I went through and I questioned him thoroughly, because there's some kind of weird stuff that they do. They have cheese wires that they sell because they have a gourmet cheese slicer, and sometimes your wire wears out or it breaks or you need a new wire, and they sell them for $1. If you bought the cheese slicer from them, it's free forever. So, but they put some of that money in the bank, and then any cash money they get for that goes into like a pocket or a slush fund. And they don't take that out of inventory on Oak Street. Okay, that gets adjusted at year end. Anyway, what I'm looking for is about 1, 2, or 3 people that would be willing to meet with me for up to an hour sometime. I'll give you access to the data file. It's on QBox. So all I have to do is get you set up with a name and a password. And I have all these reports ready showing the other thing that's interesting about this group is there's like 3 partners, and they're all in their mid-70s. And they're thinking about maybe selling the business. They're not quite sure what, but they're at the point where they want to come up with an exit plan. And one of them actually takes all the numbers from Quicken and Oak Street and puts it together in an Excel sheet. So one of the things I'm doing is comparing my year-end income statement and my year-end balance sheet with theirs, the ones they've used, and then seeing what the differences are. And I'm going to have that all, hold on, let me hang this up. Yeah, that's, hang on, there we go. I lost where I was.
Well, you know what? I'm willing to help you later. You have my information to get a hold of me. We'll
I do. And I have Yvette's. I was thinking maybe Sarah Laidlaw would be interested. I don't know who's interested in this kind of thing. The other thing is I'm being paid a value package of $1,000 a month, and I'm willing to, if somebody's willing to dig into this with me, I'm willing to share some of that money, $100, $200, $300, to get this solved out. So,
well, when I have that problem with the clearing account, sometimes the bank is great. I have to look at the debits and the credits, and I just say, look, you got to figure out why. You took in more sales than went into the bank. Is somebody taking money? Somebody could be stealing, or more went into the bank than you had sales. Did you invest money into the business, put it into the wrong thing? I leave it up to them to figure out, because with the value package like you're having, that's beyond the scope of what they've asked you to do, I think.
I don't think you sold this on a value package like that, though, did you?
Kind of, it was a flat rate, and it started off, it was supposed to be 4 months. And then we never really got it finished up, so I just kept them paying me $1,000.
Sounds like you need to renegotiate that.
Right, because I think what you're doing is beyond the scope of what you originally signed up for, which is probably to move them over to QuickBooks and start to do their stuff. So I run it when I have these clearing accounts, and I do the same thing, especially with restaurants and bars. I'm not going to match deposits that go in every day. If there's a difference, I say, you have to tell me what it is. Any difference is usually one is greater. I said it goes to draw at the end of the year. I'm not going to, this is what I see. So either somebody's stealing from you, or you're putting money in, or not enough sales are being run up in the cash register, which can impact your sales tax.
Well, that's the other thing is I might just make an adjustment, and that's why I wanted to take my QuickBooks year-end balance sheet and QuickBooks year-end income statement and compare theirs with mine and the difference.
Okay, and the other thing too is how much is in this clearing account that you're needing to investigate?
Well, sometimes it's off $30,000. And what's odd is
How much revenue do they have every year? What's their revenue annually or monthly? What's their monthly revenue?
It's not me typing.
that's their gross. That's not a net.
Wait a minute. What's their? I'm sorry, I missed that. What's their monthly revenue?
Oh, no, I don't know about monthly. I guess it would be $1 million a month because.
Okay, and so look at the materiality of $3,000. It's not material.
Got it.
Okay.
And then I may just make an adjustment.
But I would bring it to their attention and say, look, there's something going on here. I'm going to keep my eye on it, but something that you, Mr. Owner, should be looking at. Because, perfect books are expensive. Nothing is perfect. And for 2 years, you had it right on the money. So something else happened, and you can kind of give them an idea. Either more sales have come in that haven't made it to the bank, or sales have not come in that haven't made, you can just look at the debits and credits of how that sales reconciliation account is either a minus or a plus.
Right.
Tell them that and say, so you need to investigate why that is. Now, if you'd like me to do it, that's a higher end thing, and I'm going to have to bring in some big guns here that are, real big heavy hitters, and they're not cheap.
Got it.
You should not have to be giving your money away to have us help you, I think. Thank you for the offer, but I don't want to take your money. Does that follow me?
I hear you. I'm spending probably about 8 hours a month.
I don't care how much time you spend.
What?
It does not matter to me. The amount of hours that you're spending has nothing to do with what you're charging. If you can get their work done in 15 minutes, are you going to reduce their price?
No, a lot of what I'm doing is babysitting them.
Exactly. So, but
I go and I sit with them and I talk with them.
and that's them. They're willing to pay $1,000 for your good heart. So don't feel guilty about charging more money.
Hey, Nancy, sorry.
Nancy!
Nancy, I haven't seen you in
Oh my God! Nancy!
Oh my God! Where's your boxer?
He's home with Ben. I'm actually at the office.
Oh,
What?
wonderful. I love your garden.
Thank
So
you.
you're still working? I thought you were retired.
You never retire this business.
That's occasionally. Okay.
I don't know. I saw a Facebook post about you. You said you were done. You left. I'm like, what? She moved away. He's on a beach somewhere, just lying down. I'm like, what?
I can't say what I want to say. It would be censored.
Oh, no.
It is good to see you, Nancy.
Good to see all you guys too. Dennis's post that came up on Facebook that said we had been friends for 3 years and he missed me being at the hangout. Said, I kept saying to Ben, oh my God, some Friday night.
Well, I'm happy you came. We're happy to have you back, Nancy.
Well, don't get used to it, okay? Here again, but I'm not going to any lovely beach.
You should have been here last week. We were doing Notify. Have you heard of Notify?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it kind of made me roll my eyes.
Uh-oh.
Did you watch the
You have to come on. Sarah loves Notify.
Did you watch the Hangout?
Oh my Lord! I'll tell you. If you could go out back in my woods, okay, in the 30 acres that I don't mow, there's this really big rock, okay, like Mambo. I think I moved in under there. And when 5 o'clock rolls around, I creep out of the office and I go crawl under my rock.
Okay.
I have just, I mean, Ben and I are trying to cut back on hours. I will be honest. But, I mean, after 16 years of doing this, I just need a break. I can't eat, breathe, sleep, talk, exist, have nightmares, have dreams of QuickBooks. There's got to be more to life than that. And I turned 56 just a couple of weeks ago, and I just made up my mind. I don't want to work 18 hours a day anymore.
So
Happy belated birthday, Nancy.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Nancy. Well, before we have like 10 minutes left, and I told Mariette that I wanted to give her some time. She wants to talk about the smart sheet that she has. And Mariette, can you unmute and explain?
yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
yes.
All right, yeah, let me show you guys this really quickly. You can see all the fun stuff we're doing in the smart sheet. Have you guys joined the smart sheet yet? Any of you? I know Sarah obviously has. Anyone else?
You'll have to tell me how to do that.
Do we get an invitation?
Okay. Yeah, you should have all got invitations like a few weeks ago when we first talked about it.
I didn't get one. Should I send you my email? How do I get it?
Sarah is an admin, so what you'll do is, hold on. Let me share my screen.
Are you sure you're not already a user on there?
It's Sarah Laidlaw, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, me?
Are you feeling guilty? You're not doing your job, Sarah. No.
I am feeling guilty. I'm like, what?
Sarah's fired.
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah. So hold on. Let me show you guys something really quickly.
And we can post email addresses and things in the group. The group is private. It's not listed out for public. So the comments in there are private.
Okay, so you guys see my screen? So
Yeah.
I would say
Yes.
the best thing to do first is to go to the actual conversation. So here it is. I think this is where we were kind of talking about it here on July 1st, how we had an awesome meeting and we talked about how we're going to start showing ideas on Smartsheet. And then, people were saying, oh, I think Jan wanted to get added in. A few other people wanted to get added in. And so I would probably think that would be a good way of doing it because she's the admin, just kind of add the same comments in here so we don't have like a bunch of different posts on it. And then once she adds you, then basically it's going to look like this. So you're going to have, first you're going to get an email that says you're invited to Smartsheet. As soon as you get invited to Smartsheet, it's actually pretty cool because let me actually go into.
What if I already have a Smartsheet account?
Then it's going to automatically, that's a great question. It's going to automatically add you. So let me show you. So for instance, let's say, you log in, it's going to email you and it's going to direct you straight to the link to Smartsheet. So for instance, I'm going to go into Smartsheet right here. If you're not logged in already, it's going to look like this. So it's going to have you log in. The best thing to do is to go ahead and use your Google account. So that way you're always logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep myself logged in and I'm going to use my Google account. You can either, if you don't have a Smartsheet account, you can start a new one and it'll basically be blank. If you already have, go ahead. You're going to say something?
Go ahead. You're going to say something. What I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I would say if you already have one, then this is what's going to happen. And crap, I hate when I do this when I go into another one because then I forget the darn login. Okay. So let me use another one. That's not a good user. Let me use a user that I know. I'll use my. Okay. So here it is. Okay. So here it is. So this is okay. So this is literally the idea of you either not having a Smartsheet or having one. So if you don't have a Smartsheet, then you'll basically create a new one. If you already have one, then you log in right here with your Google, and it'll just load it because it knows you have one already. If you didn't have one, it will still try to log in with your Google, but it'll say create a new Smartsheet account. And then those permissions that Google always asks and says, are you allowing this app to have access to your Google apps? That one permission that always comes up. That's going to come up. You say, yes, allow it to have access to my Google account. And then it's going to give you a blank sheet. And so basically, yeah, go ahead.
But what if I have like my email, my account has a different email address than my Google address?
So you don't use Gmail for the Smartsheet account that you have right now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I haven't yet.
Okay. Well, I would first suggest that you use the Gmail for the Smartsheet account. Okay. It's easier. That's what I would say, number one. Number two, if you don't, then you're going to have to tell Sarah that, well, you'll give her the email address that's already assigned to your Smartsheet, except you won't be able to log in using Google. So, and it's just so easy to log in using Google, because after you've logged in using Google, so let me go ahead and just close it. After that, it's really simple, because then, let's say you go in the next time, you just click on Smartsheet, and you're pretty much always logged in. And since I work in there like consistently, that's really important to me, but it may not be that important to you. So, but either way, it's just really important to know that whatever email you use, if you already have a Smartsheet account, that's the one you want to give to Sarah. Okay? So once you're in here, it's going to be completely blank. Like literally, you're not going to even have this thing that calls. It's not going to have like a workspace with a name under. It's just going to look like favorite, sites, sheets, and it'll say workspace, but it'll be like you won't have any workspaces. It'll just be one line here. So in this one, I have one workspace. So the way workspaces work, let's just keep it really simple. It's just a folder organization. It's basically a folder formatting system. So you create a folder called taxes, and under the taxes folder, you have subfolders or you have sheets. And so that's like the basic of how it looks. So let me show you one that's actually more elaborate. So here's mine that I use more often. So here are my workspaces. So for instance, your workspace is going to be this. This is the actual name. So Sarah's the admin on it. She's the only one that could actually change the name of the workspace. So if you don't have anything, you're pretty much just going to have a workspace. And when you open workspace, you're going to have one workspace. It's called 2-SBAA compare the apps. So that's the one she created. Okay. And so under that workspace, what I've done, she was actually going to keep it really simple, probably, and we'll decide on whether we want to go that way or not. But she wanted to do something like this, where she would pretty much just have a workspace and just a bunch of sheets under. I kind of get overwhelmed when it's just so many sheets, because I kind of like to see what I'm looking at. What I created a different hierarchy. When you open the workspace, I created kind of folders based on the topics that we're going to be talking about in the Zoom.
That's great, Mariette. That's so organized.
So yeah, so that's how I started. So for instance, so I have like accounting solutions. Under accounting solutions, after we've decided on maybe comparing a few of them, let's say if we already have one on accounting solutions. So compare, I don't know, let's say we had like an accounting solution comparison of QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Self-Employed, Wave, and I don't know, Zoho Books, right? So after we've created like an actual comparison, if it's a software that we want to learn a lot more about, then it goes into its own sheet, and we basically just add like a bunch of different cool quick links to it. That way, we don't have to ask each other, oh, where was that link you were talking about? You can just go into the accounting solutions folder, go into the actual name of the file called, Zoho Books or QuickBooks or Wave. And in there, let's just drop a bunch of cool links that we talk about. So for instance, we talked about this one, which was the matrix that Woody Adams made, which compares all of the QuickBooks products. So that was something that we actually talked about. So I stuck that in there. I've already kind of created a few more, like for instance, here under project management, I created a project management folder, and under that, I've already created like the two that we talked about. So we've talked about Notify, and we've talked about Smart Sheets. I think I misspelled that. So for like
let's go into Notify real quick.
Okay, I haven't done anything
Since
in
we
there.
just did that last week.
Gee, I hope our certified payroll, AIA billing, and crew overtime are in the construction one.
Nothing's in there yet. I'm only building it. I need you. That's why I wanted to show you. I really need you. If you want to come in here. So whoever is like super excited now, I'm talking about the other Sarah that's on the call, that's excited about this, come in here.
Okay.
Links and all that. So the idea of kind of this sheet, I try to keep it as simple as possible. So let me give you an idea of Smart Sheet. So the idea behind Smart Sheet, as you know, it's just like a Excel or Google Sheets on steroids. So it makes it really simple for you to create worksheets. So this worksheet literally just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. In it, I'm just trying to keep you focused on like a really short Cliff Notes version on what you're trying to share with us. So for instance, here I'm just trying to share that Smart Sheet. What is it? It's this link I'm going to give you is the actual application's website. What type of link is it? So this is a drop down, so you can actually say, oh, we were talking about it on Gina's Hangout, on Seth's Hangout, on Joanne's Hangout. This is a PDF document, a YouTube video, a blog. So you kind of tell us what it is that you're sharing. You added it. So for instance, all your names are going to be on here. So
Oh, there's my name. I saw my name.
then you are.
Is mine in there?
So what,
There's mine, Yvette at YMS Bookkeeping.
then you're here. What is your email? Who doesn't think they're on here?
Right there.
BSFS Deb. I'm at the
Look,
top.
right on top, Yvette at YMS Bookkeeping.
Oh yeah, you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that
Oh,
mean,
at the top.
so if we're on there, that means
There I
we
am, right there. BSFS Deb.
Oh, here you are.
I want to change that, where she changes it, sends it to my Gmail address.
Okay, so you'll want to let her know because she's the only one that actually, she'll have to go into the admin sharing right and then change the email address for you. I can't do that.
So everyone that's on that list actually has access to it right now. If you've got
Everyone that's on this list has access if they've actually accepted the invitation. They may not
I
have
have
accepted.
something to add to that already. I got the YouTube of the Google apps being shared with Smartsheet.
There you go. So so actually, is it this one? The video on Google Apps integration?
Oh, okay, you got it already. Jeez.
Sorry, I'm fast. I'm laser fast. I'm just kidding. Wow. Anyway, so, okay, but this is the idea. So just give us the name of what you're sharing, a quick description. Again, I made this really simple. It's just like literally what type of document are you sharing? I really like this idea of, since we talked so much on the Hangout, if it was just like a topic we talked about on the Hangout, just choose Gina's Hangout and stick the link in there. Let us know who added it. That way, if you want to go back and say, oh, let's talk about this like on a sidebar between each other, you can do that. And then just add the link and copy paste, obviously, simple. And besides that, if you want to go like a lot more in, okay, hold on, sorry. That's my Ring Central calling me everywhere, and my Google call and everything. Okay, so all right. So anyway, if you want to go more in depth in Smartsheets and kind of from a collaborative perspective, which I love, but we don't have to do this, on each one of these lines, you actually click on this little discussion, and then we can start discussing back and forth. So it's like you can say, what do you like best about the website or whatever, right? And which, I don't know, pages should I visit? Whatever I can type. And so then, we'll do a discussion, and then we'll basically can talk back and forth. So that's really cool. So, and that's what Sarah was saying. Sarah was saying, well, let's just keep everything in here. But she was thinking like creating a massive spreadsheet and then just have discussions. But I just felt like that would be like really overwhelming for us.
Some of the subject you can have a lot of information on.
Yeah, exactly.
CRMs, work solution, or
Right.
project management. I can see those as being really big.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then something that's also really cool I wanted to show you is like, so here, the discussions, and this is my favorite part, and I use this all the time in some too, because I use discussions to almost create topics within a discussion. So for instance, I can call this discussion Smartsheet resources on website. And so now that's the name of that discussion, but then I come in here and I'm like, well, I don't really want to talk about that. I want a new discussion. I want to call this Smartsheet, I don't know, other discussion. Let's just, for instance. So you can actually create separate discussions within, I can't type, within the same, I'll just say save so you can see, separate discussions within the same actual line item. So for instance, if you want to come into the Smartsheet, go into discussions, you can actually see, oh, they've been discussing resource on the website. They've also been discussing, well, we can call this actually, a better example would be, let's call this Smartsheet for taxes, for tax prep. And so Dennis and I can go crazy in here and start talking about how we use this for our tax prep and good ideas and all that. And so within a line item, you can actually create a discussion, and within the discussion, you can create multiple discussions. And again, I think this is key for us to be able to just say, I want to go look at Smartsheet. I want to go look at, so I want to start at my workspaces. I know I want to look at Smartsheet, so I'm going to look at project management folder. I want to look at project management folder, and I want to find Smartsheets. And once I find Smartsheets, I want to talk about that discussion about tax prep. So let me go find the discussion on tax prep. So see how easy it is to like locate it versus if it was in one massive spreadsheet, you would be like, whoa, where do I go from there? So,
Right.
So that's basically what I've done so far in regard to kind of organizing it and creating this just basic window, this kind of smart sheet window for you guys. Very simple again, just 5 columns. If you feel like there's a column that needs to be added, it's really simple. You can just right click and say insert a column. And this is the most important part right here. So when you actually insert a column, all you do is you tell Smartsheet what type of data is going to be in that column. So are you just going to write things in there? It's text. Do you want a drop-down list, like the one where I did like document type, Gina's, YouTube, various resources? Do you want it to be a drop-down list? Create that. Do you want it to be a checkbox? So for instance, let's say, have you looked at this? Oh my gosh, look at this, let's say. So what if I want to see who actually even looking at these links? So you can create a little checkbox here and say, yes, I've looked at this. And so we can like check it off, something like that. So, you know, you guys can create, if you want, another column. I think the main thing about creating columns, though, is that to stay consistent, because every one of the actual sheets that are called link sheets, which essentially is a simple sheet with 5 columns, they're all going to be exactly the same. So if we're going to create a column in one link sheet, I think we should create the same column in all of them. So that way, wherever you are in Smartsheets, it always looks the same. So it's not like confusing on, well, why does that one have this column and why does that one not? And so, you know.
Yeah, there should be some sort of consistency. Otherwise, people are going to be like, bleh.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for instance, I even created a folder called Hot Topics Hangout Discussion. So right now when we were talking, what were we talking about? Value pricing. So then I created an actual sheet called Value Pricing, and under that, what is it? It looks exactly the same. Name, description, document type, added by links. So they're always going to look the same, except for it's going to be based on maybe a topic that we're talking about. You know, again, it's just random sheets. So when you guys are talking, I'm going to sometimes just come in here and just say, oh, they just talked about value pricing. I'm going to put that in here. And the next time someone says, hey, were you on Gina's Hangout? What did you guys talk about? Oh, we talked about value pricing. Go into the Smartsheet and pick that link, and then maybe we'll have a discussion on value pricing in here. Something like that. So
for example, I use that's the CPA. It's like recorded webinars. You could actually, like, there's one on tax coach and another.
Oh, CPAacademy.org, is that
yes,
one?
yeah, and so you could put a link to those webinars, and there's like Excel webinars that are really useful. You could put a link to those and.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the idea. Again, you know, open to ideas, and if it's confusing, or, you know, if you find a column that's totally missing and we have to add it, let's just do it. I just think it's important that we stay consistent, so that way if we're trying to teach somebody else how to navigate in here, you know, we can have a how-to. Like in 5 minutes, I can tell you how to navigate. It's really simple. Because if not, if we don't keep it simple, I don't think we're going to all take advantage of it. I think that's
right.
So. Okay, that's it. That's my 2 cents. I'm done.
Thank you, Marianne. That's awesome. That is totally awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys like it.
So,
Again, how do I get added?
Oh, okay. So were you not on this list?
I found that post, and there's no place to get added when I found that post. So
Can you make sure that she doesn't have 2 emails for me?
Okay, so
Mariette, can you see it under, she has me under Yvette Shong.
Okay,
well,
so
let me
here,
see what email she has for me.
so here it is. You guys see me?
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, she has me.
So actually, since this is recorded, I probably don't want to show too much email addresses.
Yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not going to write them down. No way. I'm not taking a picture with my phone either.
Okay. Well, just in case someone else watches it. But yeah, are you on here?
It's going to be recorded. It's recorded.
Yeah, we are still recording.
Yeah, and I don't see Linda on there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't. I forgot we were recording.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, so that's why I don't want to do it. So,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
so, yeah, I think for now, I'll probably send a private message to Sarah right now and ask her what is the best way to do it. But I
That's
think
a
to
good
go on
idea.
here, yeah, I'll do that. But for now, literally just come in here and say, hey, can you add me? And then I'll send her a private message and let her know we talked about it today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank
Shelley.
Thank you.
Oh, Shelley's back.
Hey, Shelley.
That was really very cool.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, we're a little over time right now, so I'm going to end the meeting on that note, which is great. Thank you so much, Mariette. I plan on diving in this weekend, and I'd love to see Sarah. Is she still with us? Sarah Prevost? No.
I think that's who said bye, and I thought it was Nancy that said bye.
Oh, okay. I'd love to see her put her comments on the Notify.
Hey, and where's Sarah Laidlaw?
Pardon?
Where's Sarah Laidlaw?
Yeah, she was on the morning webinar.
Well, she's busy this afternoon, obviously.
I thought I saw her pop on and then she popped off. She could have gotten a phone call. Anything could happen.
Could be.
So, all righty, everybody. Have a great weekend. Same time, same place next week. We'll talk about Canopy. That'll be coming in August. So we will see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you all again.
Good to see you, Nancy.